It's Patreon movie review time, guys, and I've got a special one to do today. I've got a guy called Jack Hunter. He's one of my new patrons on my channel, and he's directed a movie himself called Paranoia Tapes, and in fact he's actually directed quite a few Paranoia Tapes sequels as well, but he wants me to do a movie review for Paranoia Tapes that he directed in 2017. As I mentioned before, I don't normally do fan film movie reviews, but I have been doing quite a few found footage movie reviews lately, including the Blair Witch Project, and this is a found footage movie. So I decided, yeah, I'll go ahead and do this one and see what it's all about. A man finds a bucket of several DVDs, VHS tapes and other media when his father goes missing. He enlists the help of his neighbour friend Blair to help him find clues within the footage. Before I began watching this movie, Jack Hunter did warn me that Paranoia Tapes was his first movie in the Paranoia Tapes franchise that he's doing at the moment, so he learns from his mistakes, as everybody does. So get into this movie. I wasn't expecting much at all, and we have to remember this movie is over 90 minutes long. It's hard to do a short film of about 10 minutes, never mind 90 minutes, so we have to take that into consideration. Trying to keep the audience on the edge of their seat, trying to keep the audience involved in the movie and wanting to watch more is hard to do as a student filmmaker, as a fan filmmaker, but to do it for 90 minutes is a hard task. I'll start with the quality of the film. It is a found footage movie, so we are not expecting Hollywood style quality here. For a found footage movie, for a fan film, I think the quality of the look of the movie was really good. I'm starting with the positives here, so I think the quality of it was really good. It reminded me of VHS, the movie VHS. It had that similar grindhouse style of found footage movie. So I like that part about it because I did like VHS. These type of movies though aren't my favourite found footage movies. I like the found footage movies like Paranormal Activity, The Visit, movies like that, the Blair Witch Project. Those are the type of found footage movies that I like. The ones I sway away far from are movies like this one I'm reviewing at the moment. Doesn't mean I hate all these movies, because VHS again is similar to Paranoia Tapes. I keep trying to call it Paranormal Tapes. It's similar to Paranoia Tapes, and I did like VHS. There's quite a few actors on show here, more than you would expect for your typical fan film. With a fan film you get maybe 2 or 3 actors at most. In this, there seems to be quite a lot. I don't know if Jack and the rest of the crew paid for these actors, but there was quite a lot of people in the film. Some of them weren't great at acting, as you would expect for a found footage movie, but some of them I could pinpoint being pretty good. So yeah, I think the acting overall was good for a fan film. Throughout the whole movie there is a wraparound, as you would normally expect for a found footage movie. There's a lot of little segments all the way throughout the film, and then there's a wraparound story as well. That's just standard, and that's what we see here. There was one segment that I really liked with there was a girl who was sitting at the sidewalk with a bat, and she was killing. She killed somebody at the side of the road. You didn't really see that on screen. But one thing, I had to rewind this a few times because I don't quite realise how they done this. Usually when you see a special effect or a practical effect, you can see how they done it. But there was one scene in this that I didn't quite understand how he done it. So Jack, if you're watching this, I'd actually really like to know how you done this. But there was a scene where you seen a girl who was standing in front of one of her future victims, and he was looking over a body and he was leaning against a car, and she made him turn around and he looked up and she hit him with the bat. You couldn't see her hitting him with the bat, but the way it happened, it looked realistic. I hope it's not real, but the way she swung the bat and his head went back, the blood squirted out. And again, obviously it's practical effects, but it was very well done. I don't know if it was done in one take, but it was very, very well done, and that's what I really liked about that. That was one of my favourite segments in this film. I think my favourite segment though was one of the segments near the end with the 3 boys who go into the woods and they see all these signs on the trees. It reminded me of the Blair Witch Project. That's what I'm getting at, because I love the Blair Witch Project. So it was a kind of Blair Witch Project style that went into this segment. And these boys are going around the woods and they're, excuse me, they're pulling off all these bits of paper that are giving them signs and warning signs. And then They see something in the woods, the camera starts acting up and you can see something like a silhouette. We don't get to see what it actually was, and again I like that about it because it's very ambiguous, it doesn't tell us what it is. So I think that's my favourite segment in this. For an independent fan film, we can't be too critical about these movies. One thing that I was very critical about was the overall story itself. There was a lot of segments in this. I think there was too many segments for me to actually latch onto. I think if there was maybe 3 or 4 segments maximum with a wraparound story, that would have been enough. But I lost count of how many segments there actually was, and because of that I lost track of the full story itself. I was forgetting what it was actually about, and to this point, even after watching the movie, I wasn't quite sure where we were going with it. They didn't really have an end. There seems to be, what it looked like is too many people directing this film, too many people had ideas and they just crammed them into this one movie, and I think that was a little bit too much to take. I think if they split it into a couple of movies, which I'm guessing that they do with the sequels, if they split this movie into 2 though, I think it would have been a lot better. If they made the wraparound story a lot tighter, then I think it would have been better overall. So one thing I did like though, I forgot to mention this, is at the very beginning, before the movie starts, we get to see the backstory of some true stories. Some of them I've heard of, like the Columbine massacre, and some of them I haven't heard of before, so that was quite interesting because I wasn't sure if that was real or fake, and I still don't know if it's real or fake with some of the stories that they mentioned at the beginning. But the stories that they mentioned at the beginning didn't tie into the full film. Some of them did, some of them didn't, so I wasn't quite sure why they were there at the beginning. It's easy to slate fan films. It's easy to say that was rubbish, you shouldn't direct a movie ever again. Even the best of directors made really bad films, and I'm not saying this is a bad film at all. I think it's very amateurly made, but I couldn't do a better job whatsoever. I think with what they had to work with, they've done a really good job. There wasn't a lot of gore in it, but like I said, the gore that I saw, I didn't quite understand or know how they'd done that, so that was really well done. Overall guys, I was really impressed with this film. I think that for a fan film, it was really well done, like I said, and I think moving forward, and I'm sure he's done this anyway, but moving forward, if they're making more movies in the future, anthology style movies, cut it down a bit. Don't give us too many little stories within one big story. Just give us a few with a more solid wraparound story, and I think that could improve this type of film. If you've got access to Amazon Prime, it is available to watch for free on Amazon Prime, and I'm sure his other sequels are available for free on Amazon Prime as well. I'll leave a link down below to Jack Hunter's page. I'll leave a link to the Amazon Prime movie. Not sure you can click on it if you're not an Amazon Prime member, but I'll leave the link down below anyway. So thanks to Jack Hunter for first of all becoming a Patreon subscriber. I really appreciate that, and for recommending this movie for me to watch. It was an interesting watch, and if you have got Amazon Prime, like I said, check the link down below. Anyway guys, thanks all for watching again. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.